Welcome and thank you for joining the Organic Grain Markets webinar today. My name is Marla Carlson and I'm the Executive Director at Sask Organics and will be moderating today's session. I'm speaking to you from Regina, Saskatchewan, situated on Treaty 4 with presence in Treaty 6. These are the territories, the Nahiawak, the Anishinaabeg, the Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis Méchief Nations. I'm just, how come that's always away, trying to get my things to advance. First of all, a big thank you to you for attending and for all of the grain companies who are here today to share some information on prices and markets and things like that for you. We'll start out with a little housekeeping. So the first thing is to make sure that if you have any unnecessary programs running in the background on your computer, please close them down. This will help improve the quality of your audio and video. All of the attendees are in listen-only mode, so only the moderators and the panelists can speak. However, you can ask questions and we encourage you to do so. So you'll just see that red arrow pointing toward the questions box. And if you just click on that, you'll be able to type in your questions. And if you are joining us by phone, you will have been prompted to enter an audio PIN. And if you didn't do that, please ensure that you're muted at all times. And after each grain company representative presents, we're going to take a couple of minutes for questions. So just make sure you queue them up as they're presenting, so we can get in as many as we can. The webinar is being recorded, so within 24 hours you'll receive a link to the recording along with any handouts from our gold sponsors. And there are 9 companies with us today, and thank you again for being here. But that means a lot of switching back and forth and webcams on and off, so bear with us as we may have some technical glitches as we go along today. Just a little bit about Sask Organics. We're the Industry Association for Organic Farmers and Processors in the province. Our farmer-led membership organization and represent 941 crop producers and 1,052 certified organic entities with just over 1 million acres under organic management in the province. And what we do is we advocate for a sustainable and thriving organic community through research, market development, government relations, and probably most importantly, our education program, which includes webinars like these, and when we can meet in person, conferences and field days. Thank you so much again to our sponsors. You can see our gold sponsor, Grain Millers, Sunrise Foods International, PHS Organics, Mountain High Organics, Manitoba, Harvest, FW Cobs, O&T Farms, bronze sponsors, Mumm, Spreading Seeds, Seaboard Special Crops, and our supporter sponsor, Organics Canada. Without further ado, I do have a little spiel here about the importance of these webinars on grain prices. And our first one was actually our first webinar back in April, and it was so well attended. As along with whenever we ask our members what sorts of information they would like or events they would like, they always say marketing. It's almost at the top of the list. So here we are today. Each of our buyers will have 5 minutes to present, and you'll see on the right-hand side of the screen, we did ask them a few questions in advance of them presenting today, just so that we can maybe have a little consistency across the information that's being provided to you by the companies. So I think without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Scott Shields from Grain Millers. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Marla, and Deb for hosting this and putting this all together, Sask Organics. Yeah, as she said, my name's Scott Shields. I've been with Grain Millers here in Yorkton now for about 8 years. Grain Millers is the largest organic oat milling company in the world. So we are heavily invested in the organic industry in Canada as well as in the US. Our Canadian headquarters located here in Yorkton, and I oversee the procurement for Canada. A quick little bit of news. There's been lots of changes with our company. You're going to see a presenter later on who used to work for us, Jeff Barron, who's with a new company now. And for a lot of you, you'll know the person who did take over his old role with us here, Laura Weinbender, who was a crop specialist for us for I think about 6 years before we've now moved her into the grain merchant role. So if you're wanting to talk markets, talk prices, do some contracts with us, contact myself or Laura, and hopefully a lot of you have probably already met her. For what we're seeing here this fall, I mean, the crop was okay, not nearly what we've seen in the last couple of years. So as far as the oats go, as far as flax goes, those are our two primary crops that we handle here in Canada. Yields are down a little bit. Quality's good. Test weights are a little lighter than we've seen in the past, but still all right for milling. So there's going to be some interesting things happen likely with the oat market here over the winter. Because the acres were up, but yields are down. We're probably in the same or very similar situation to last year as far as stocks on hand and what we're going to be looking at for carryout. So it's a pretty tight market. And I think that's going to be the case with most organic commodities as well as conventional commodities. It's no secret with the way the prices have been running up on basically all commodities across the board the last little while. That I guess is the cropping trend, more of a marketing trend that I see happening. I don't think there's a lot of downside potential for any of the markets. I think worst case scenario, we're going to be flat through the year, probably higher. So a good situation for farmers. And if the grain companies are doing it right, it's a good situation for us too. There's really good demand in the food industry. We saw a really big surge in demand last spring with the COVID, we'll call it the quote unquote COVID demand. And a lot of times when there's something like COVID or whatever's affecting the economy negatively and people have less money to spend, we've seen in the past that can affect the organic markets and the organic food sales a little bit more than the conventional. However, with this, we've still seen organic demand holding up well, and that's a really good sign going into this year. If you want to talk about second wave, COVID demand, those kind of things, we haven't seen that really coming yet, but we're just getting into the season where we see oat demand start to pick up. It gets cold, people, you eat a little more oatmeal. We always notice that the sales are a little higher through the winter. So I think there's good potential there. It's good demand, and prices will stay strong through the year. Right now we are buying oats for basically January to August, and we're at $6.50 a bushel delivered into Yorkton here. We do a lot of farm pickup based on where your location are. We have a couple of trucking companies that give us pretty good truck freight rates, so we definitely can get you a price picked up at your farm. For flax, we are contracting brown flax organic now at $33 a bushel picked up, and organic yellow flax at $38 a bushel picked up. Flax acres were up, but the yields are tight on it too. They weren't what we were seeing or what we thought we were going to see back in the summer. So those prices have stayed very strong. The quick question on gluten-free. Grain Millers is also the largest gluten-free oat producing company in North America. We don't buy a lot of gluten-free oats. We produce mechanically gluten-free finished products. So I'm sure there'll probably be some questions on that. At times we need to go out and buy gluten-free. So we keep a list of producers that have that, and we will, if our sales guys come to us and they need some stuff that was specifically grown as gluten-free for a customer as opposed to the mechanically produced stuff that we have, we will go out and buy that, pay a premium. However, that market is very hit and miss for us. So I do welcome questions, and we do welcome producers to send us samples. We will look at them, analyze them, see if they'll make gluten-free, put you on the list, and kind of hope for the best down the road. Yeah, I think I don't have really much else to talk about. Welcome any questions, and thanks again to Sask Organics for having us do this webinar.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Maybe because you've gone first, you've gotten off a little easy. There haven't been any questions come into the question box. But thank you very much for that, for the update and the prices. And I think we will now move on. And there may be questions later on. People might start to have questions, so we might bring you back in. So we're going to move on now to our next presenter, which is Bill Longman from Sunrise Foods. Welcome, Bill.
Hi, Marla. Thanks, Marla and Deb and all the Sask Organics for having us. Thanks for putting this on. It's nice to still, I guess, be able to spread the word, spread our message, and see a few friendly faces on the webinar here. We've been business as usual at Sunrise. As you can tell, I'm working from home in my man cave / home office, so that's it's been all right for me. I'm a commuter, so saving me a lot of miles and a lot more family time. So that's been the good side of it. There's been a lot of bad for a lot of people. So we've been, I'm with Sunrise Foods, as Marla mentioned. We were founded in 1997, based out of Saskatoon, still work at a Saskatoon privately owned company. Glenn and Nan Neufeld started the company, and their son Jake is now our CEO, and he steers the ship. I just want to speak a little bit to quality this year. As Scott had kind of mentioned before, crops came off in really nice shape for the most part. There were some areas, some people were unfortunately dry. There was some wet spots, but I guess that's typical of prairie farming in Canada and specifically in Saskatchewan. We found yields not to be that bad. It's quite varied. There's some people that had some low yields, high quality, high proteins, things like that. We've had other areas where guys have never grown as good a crop as they have this year. So probably an average yield, like as Scott had alluded to, and the quality way better. We're not dealing with the frost damage, the bad falling numbers, and not as bad on low test weight, different things like that. So that's kind of nice. Crop trends, I guess, speaking to what we see going on in organics. A lot of acres have come into organics in the last couple of years. Basically, you know, when prices were strong, people were looking over the fence. You've had some conventional guys, some smaller organic producers, and just some people that are new to farming in general jump in. Been a lot of acres cleared. There's been some hayland broke up, some pasture. Northern Alberta, there's a lot of bushland being logged and being farmed organically. So there's some big yields up there. So it's being that we buy across a large area of Canada and the northern United States, we get a kind of a feel for what's happening, and we're seeing some uncertain crops, especially on cereals, especially on wheat, a lot of a surplus. Northern states had some big crops as well. They've even had protein this year, which a lot of years they don't have, and they typically buy our Canadian protein to to boost their low protein winter wheat. So on the wheat market, I guess more or less that we're seeing a bit of a surplus, and that's putting some strain on things. Demand is up, as Scott had also mentioned, but we're also finding that I feel the economic hardships that are coming from COVID are pushing some people away from organics temporarily, I hope. You're out of a job, you got kids to feed, you're probably going to the store and buying the $2 Wonder Bread and not the $4 or $5 organic bread, unfortunately, right now. The flip side of that is I feel that people are going to pay more attention to their health with this COVID crisis. People are going to start to look at things, and COVID isn't directly going to affect your diet, but I feel people are going to start to take a little better care of themselves because of this. So I hope that happens, and I hope that kind of contributes to the bottom line of organics, and that's a good thing. As far as COVID went, the cupboards were bare in March. Everybody panicked. Everybody loaded up. Our customers came to us, and anything that we had contracted, they said ship, get it to us as fast as you can. The processors, the mills, the end users made product as fast as they could, got it on the store shelves again. People filled their pantries, filled their cupboards. The flip side of that now is that it seems like a lot of people have got their flour supply for quite some time. Their rolled oats, they've got their things in the cupboard, and maybe that's slowed things down a little bit. We've noticed we've had things getting dragged out a little bit on shipments, and I feel that's directly attributed to COVID and a little bit of the surge that went on earlier in the year. As far as crops, Sunrise, we buy almost everything organic. Probably 90% of the business we do is all organic. Everything, but we don't do hemp, but we do a lot of wheat. Our spring wheat right now has been trading probably $1 under point of protein. So, with $12 in your yard on a 13 Pro, which is an ideal, and up and down on a sliding basis after that. A lot of high protein wheat around this year, but we still have markets for all of it, even the low stuff. Buying feed wheat, it's been bouncing around $7.50 to $8, depending on where you are. Barley, working on some malt programs. We started buying some malt barley here. It's got some limited space for that. That's been, again, $8.50, maybe a little better depending on where you're at. And feed barley, a lot of feed barley, big barley year, a lot of big bushels. And with U.S. corn markets being strong, they've kind of pushed the barley market down. So we're hoping corn prices are starting to creep back up a little bit. So maybe that'll pull barley back a little and get it back above $6, $6.50 maybe. I'm hoping maybe $7. Oats, we do a lot of oats, maybe not quite the volume that grain millers do. We're covered on a lot of our oats right now, so we're not actively buying until a little further out. So give us a call. We've got some more irons in the fire on that. Durum, we still buy some durum. We're probably about $14 on a 13 Pro durum. Rye, do quite a bit of rye, probably $8.50 in your yard on a decent rye right now, but give us a call, see what we can do. Golden flax, we're still buying that too. Scott said, 38, that's pretty much the range we've been in. It's fairly strong. Brown flax as well, give us a shout. I've got a few homes for feed peas and some soft white wheats, probably running in maybe a $12 a bushel right now. So I thought I'd throw all those prices at you. It's a lot to take. We also buy a few specialty crops. We do a lot of soybeans in the US out of our office in Pender, Nebraska, but we also do some soybeans in Canada and the odd chickpea and a few beans as well. So pretty much if it's organic, we can try to get you a home for it or a price on it. So other than that, we don't do a lot of gluten-free. We leave that to the people that specialize in that. And yeah, we just like to thank everybody again. If you got any questions or comments, fire away.
All right, thanks, Bill. No questions from our listeners yet, but I just was wondering, are you buying any yellow peas?
Sorry, not at the moment, Marla. No, our
Okay.
market in yellow peas is a little quiet.
Okay, and do you have a price for field peas, or is it
on feed peas?
Yeah.
This just kind of came up right before I came on here, so I haven't crunched the numbers yet. But
No,
I'm gonna guess somewhere, call it $8.50 to $9 maybe. I'll have to firm that up, but that's somewhere in the ballpark. So.
Sorry,
and that's just a feed pea. It doesn't have to be a number two.
Okay, perfect. And I guess there are a couple of questions, and just wondering if you had any lentil prices. Are you buying any lentils? French
Sorry,
greens or large greens?
sorry, I walked right by that one, didn't I?
That's all right. That's all right.
We do organic lentils as well. French greens, large greens, black lentils for the most part. Organic red lentils are really hard to trade. So we do buy them all. We do have a fair bit on hand right now. I would say if somebody's looking, if they could just give me a call, because it really varies on the markets. There's a lot of testing involved and things like that. So.
Okay, for sure. And then there is a question here on, do you feel a decline of organic acres? I mean, I'll just speak to that just that briefly. We just had our the 2019 data report was published, and we did have a decline in acres from 2018. So we were at 1.15 million acres and went down to 1.036 million acres. And I believe it was about 30,000 acres in field crop that we did go down between 2018 and 2019. You know, we'll see. I always say 1 year isn't a trend, right? So we'll see what the data tells us, you know, for 2020 to see if we're, you know, slightly declining, or, you know, if that was a blip, and we'll come back up. So, but you know, I also think that, you know, it's really, you know, really important to watch, you know, south of the border for all kinds of reasons, but organic acres is another. And they've had, you know, as you touched on in your presentation, you know, the northern U.S. and their wheat acres, they're up and yields were good, and they had protein. So, you know, just it's you know, this global market that we're in, you know, it's what's happening in Saskatchewan and in other places in the world. And then just one last question before we go. Mustard market status currently and in the next year. I'm thinking yellow mustard. That seems to be the one that trades the most, but brown maybe as well.
Yeah, we do. I walked by the mustard as well. Sorry.
All right.
We do both yellow and brown mustard. It's small markets. It's been relatively stable, I guess, being that it is a small market, and it's easy to fill that market on a good year if you have enough growers and quality wise.
Yeah.
Mustard has bounced anywhere from, I'm going to say, 75 to 85 cents in the last 3 years. I don't anticipate anything a lot different. We do have a fair bit of coverage on mustard right now. I would tell people as well on things, if you're thinking about growing something like lentils, mustard, anything a little bit out of the norm, really look hard at new crop contracts, because in these times when markets are full, it's hard to move your product. I mean, price is always important, but movement is almost as important right now. And if you don't sign these things up early, a lot of times you don't even get a kick at the cat, for lack of a better term. You don't get a chance to get in that market unless there's a crop failure, you know, and then everybody's in the same boat. So definitely take a look. I don't have any new crop contracts to offer yet. Usually, you know, Christmas time is kind of when things start to heat up and we get some interest. So yeah, just a little something there if people are thinking ahead. So.
All right, and the last question: when do you start talking contracts for the 2021 crop year?
There you go.
So when do you, yeah, go ahead, sorry.
We'll probably look at it anywhere from mid-December, the talks will start. Typically on a year, if you have a shortage of grain, the customers will come to you a lot sooner. So if they've got plenty of coverage, they might not talk to you till the new year, but okay. Typically December, we start having those conversations. So.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Bill, for being here today and answering all of our questions. And we're going to move on to our next presenter, and that is Clarence at Manitoba Harvest. So thanks so much, Clarence, for being with us today.
All right, thanks, Marla, and appreciate the opportunity. It's been a strange year where our team hasn't been able to get out and visit with our growers like we normally do over the summer. So the chance to talk to everybody, even in a virtual platform like this, is much appreciated. My name is Clarence Schwalik. I'm Director of Farm Operations for Fresh Hemp Foods, which operates under the names Manitoba Harvest, which is our retail brand. You'll see Manitoba Harvest hemp parts on most supermarket shelves. And we also have the brand called Hemp Oil Canada, and we sell bulk hemp ingredients to other food manufacturers to include in some of their formulations. So we're exclusively hemp. That's all we do. So pretty easy to stay on track with that side of things. We're the largest hemp food processor globally, located right in Manitoba. 2 facilities, one in Winnipeg and one in St. Agathe. And the way we operate is that we contract directly with growers. We have a certified seed program where we sell seed to growers to put in the ground that we contract back. And we make all the arrangements for cleaning and moving food grade hemp into our facilities. About a third of our total organic hemp production comes from Saskatchewan, so it's a real important market for us. We have some very long-term growers and some of our better growers in our system that do farm in Saskatchewan, so they represent the province quite well in our supply chain. As far as market trends, things are quite positive for organic. We have and have been seeing this for the last number of years, an increase of organic. And really, we've been struggling to keep up with the demand and getting enough acres. It's our fastest growing segment. And right now, about 2/3 of our total processing is organic. And just a couple of years ago, it was exactly opposite, whereas maybe 1/3, but we're now 2/3 organic. So that gives an indication of the demand, and it keeps us extremely current as far as processing and getting product out to our consumers on a timely basis. Trends, hemp fits really well with today's consumer trends. Plant-based proteins is something that we hear a lot of. Hemp has the healthy omega-3s and 6s for health benefits, and consumers who are looking for healthy food alternatives, they will tend to focus on organic, and that's really what's driving our demand. I can see us requiring, I would say, at least 20% more production acres in 21 versus 2020, and 2020 was a significant increase from the year before. So those trends are still going upwards for what we need on organic. Quality this year came off, for what we see so far in our harvest reports, coming off very well. It's a real contrast to last year's weather conditions where we had some early snowfall and some challenging harvest, and that did impact quality. But this year things are looking pretty good. Yields seem to be trending well this year as well. Again, we might have had some dry conditions that impacted yields kind of later in the summer, but we're geographically positioned all across the prairies, so we tend to minimize our weather risk that way. Pricing, as I can see, because of our demand, will continue to be strong. We try to price the return on hemp to be at or actually better than most other crops given normal yields, and we'll continue to price hemp that way just to attract the acres and ensure that we have enough supply for our consumers. At the same time, though, we do have some high expectations on managing quality. So what we're looking for is growers that have the right attention to detail on cleanliness on the farm, minimizing cross-contamination, good crop rotations for maximizing fertility, and the right equipment to manage, dry, and store a hemp crop. That information is all provided, and I call them our coaches. Both Scott and Daryl are well versed in hemp agronomy and storage and dry down, and they're there and provide information throughout the year to make sure our growers get the right coaching and have a good quality product to sell to us. As far as crops in the future for us, hemp is all we're going to do, but where we are diversifying is new product mixes out to our consumers. So we have hemp hearts, we have oil and protein, the standard products that you would see from a hemp processor, but we're also adding to our product mix. We have a non-dairy beverage, granola, we have bars, and we have a new product launch coming up just after the new year, which is a baking mix with hemp and hemp protein in it. So looking to expand the reach that we have and continue to create that demand for our consumers. Volume has grown significantly. I don't know if it's exactly related to COVID, but if people distancing, perhaps not getting to the gym, not getting out as much as they would for their healthy lifestyle, we do see them continuing to focus on good, healthy food habits, and hemp fits right in there with that. So, with the plant-based proteins and omegas, it fits in with a healthy diet. And we have seen a significant increase in our demand for organic over this past summer. Is it related directly to COVID? I'm not sure, but it's good for production. It's good for us as a company as well. Virtually all of our production is done by contract, and we're expecting to launch probably by about mid to later November. I wouldn't recommend anybody not grow on contract. It's a specialty crop, so you do need to know who your buyer is and where you're marketing. We don't have prices finalized, but we do expect it to be somewhat in the same range of where we were in 2020. And again, we like to aim towards the higher end of the range of returns for comparable crops. We pay FOB seed cleaning facilities, so we try to pick a seed facility somewhere near the grower, and then we pay the freight bill from there. Contracts include, it's a full production contract. There's an act of God clause, and we'd also have storage premiums for later calls to market. So you are rewarded a bit for holding on to the crop a little bit longer. As I mentioned, we do have tight specifications on quality, and that's where our agronomy team helps to guide our growers. We communicate throughout the season and make sure that everybody is aware of our best practices on managing the crop. We do have a pasteurization system in place now, and that's new within the last year. And that helps to mitigate the risk of microbiology, E. coli, for example. That's been a concern in the past, so we can minimize some of those risks, but we still do want to see best practices managed on the farm. You do have the contact information on your screen right now. That's my cell number, and the email reaches our entire farm team. So if you want an information package to learn more about hemp and what's required, probably good to start now. There's a Health Canada licensing process, and our team can walk you through that and answer any questions that you might have. So feel free to give us a shout. We're about to launch here fairly soon, so if you wanted to be on that list to receive information on our contracts, we'll be happy to get that out to you. Marla, back to you.
Oh, yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Clarence. Just one quick question, putting you on the spot a little bit. What was do you mind sharing what your contract price was last year, just to give people sort of a price indication, or?
Sure. Yep, good question. We were at $1.48 per pound, and that's clean FOB seed plant. That $1.48, that also includes a 5-cent premium for using some of the genetics that we provide. So we do have a line of 3 seed varieties, and there's a 5-cent premium to growers who do choose to use our genetics.
Okay, awesome. And then just one last question, because I'm getting text that we're going over time, but that's all right. So how are people dealing with hemp stubble and straw?
With new equipment, they tend to chop it and return it back to the soil, which is what we like to see. There's some markets developing for straw, but those are more so specialty markets, and those markets tend to prefer the much taller varieties, which may be a little more difficult to harvest. But there's a balance there, and again, our agronomists can walk growers through the options that are available.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much again, Clarence, for being here today. We really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to move on now to FW Cobs, and I would like to welcome Ben Hourigan to the webinar. Thank you so much for being here, Ben, and over to you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the opportunity, and wanted to thank Deb, Marla, and all of Sask Organics for putting this together. Also wanted to thank the producers that are on the webinar for joining as well. I'm a merchandiser for FW Cobs, as well as my colleague Pete Manahan. We're the 2 main North American buyers for FW Cobs, and so we do work in the United States as well. Also work closely with all of the producers in Saskatchewan as well. And so wanted to talk to you a little bit today about FW Cobs as a whole. We started in 2006. Father, son, Sean and John Brooks started the company, and since we've started, we've always made a commitment to just being a farmer-friendly organization, because that's how Sean and John started out as a dairy farm, and always doing business with the producers first in mind. So we haven't wavered from that, and are still have made a commitment to our local producers, and that is one reason why we refuse to import any grain outside of North America, and that still remains true today. So as far as the harvest goes this fall, looks like across the board in North America, up and down, kind of all over, but in the States, we're seeing, the biggest thing we're seeing is a strong corn crop this year. That paired with the imported market has kind of kept feed prices down, which is the market that we primarily work in, is feed grade ingredients. But hopefully here, we'll see things start to move up a little bit in the coming months, as prices are starting to creep up over the past few months. So as far as in Saskatchewan right now, we're seeing Like Bill said earlier, kind of an up and down harvest. The protein levels are very good, and the grain, we've been moving a lot of grain into the elevators in Saskatchewan, and look to keep contracting more here throughout the next couple months and into 2021 as well. Protein levels have been good, so it's been a little bit slower on the feed grade side of things. A lot of guys are just catching their breath from harvest, so I'm still waiting to see some test results come in on the grain, and looking to see how that plays out and how it grades out as well. So just wanted to say too, current bids right now, currently we're looking for good quality feed barley, feed wheat, feed rye, number 2 or number 3 grade feed peas. Also, another thing that we can't find enough of is screening, so we're always looking for those as well. This year we've been getting a little more creative. Have been doing split loads on the farm where we can fill, half a Super B with screenings, half a Super B with wheat, barley, peas, rye. Certainly, given the times and people, looking to clean bins out, just trying to be really flexible in that regard. So certainly, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Pete or I, and we'll be happy to answer any questions for you. As far as price goes, right now, certainly from the last time we presented, things are down a little bit. Looking at feed barley price, we are looking at anywhere from $5.65 to over $6 in 2021. So, and that's actually come up a little bit, surprisingly, over the past month or so. So we're hoping that will keep trending in the right direction, and we'll get back to those prices that we were last year, but certainly a little work to do to get back to there. Feed wheat, demand certainly is climbing for feed wheat as you're starting to see corn move up. And just to explain that a little bit more, when we work with end users working, that are feeding animals, chickens, or dairy cows for that matter, corn tends to drive the price, the feed grade corn. So if corn's low, you'll tend to see barley, wheat, and other feed grade crops go down as well. So that's why you're kind of seeing the feed prices the way they are right now. But back to feed wheat, we're looking at a price range anywhere from $7 to $8 a bushel right now. We are certainly taking it in right now. I'm certainly taking barley in right now as well into the elevator, and also looking for some 2021 spring and summer contracts as well. Those are still open. Feed rye is certainly something that we're looking for. You're looking at anywhere right now at a price from $5.50 up to $6.25 later on in the next summer. Also, feed peas, seems like the demand is certainly going up with the high price of soybeans right now in the States, and so definitely a need for those this year, more so than the past 2 years when it seems like the market was certainly a little more saturated. We're looking at a price range on feed peas from $8.75 to $9.50. And also organic screenings. We do have a lot of people that don't know that we are, always purchasing screenings. Anywhere from, weed seeds to pea screenings to wheat screenings, oat screenings, barley screenings. We're certainly always looking, and always have trucks on the road picking those up. Currently, screenings price is anywhere from $100 to $130. And that would be delivered to our elevator in Lower Burn. Another thing that we're doing too is open to, if you're not that close to the elevator, being able to load rail at a location nearby to you. And that's certainly something, if you do have questions, I would want you to reach out to us, and we can certainly help answer any questions that you might have. So open to any questions that you might have, and thanks for tuning in.
That's great. Thanks so much, Ben. No questions have come in, and I think that's because, your presentation was very clear and straightforward, and really appreciate kind of explaining that corn, how corn impacts, that corn price impacts the feed market, and obviously, with the U.S. being our biggest trading partner, that's huge, kind of huge for us in terms of our feed market here in Saskatchewan, what's going on with corn down in the US. So really thank you for that. And the organic screenings, that's super important too, especially, hearing that you're taking split loads and organizing some trucks, because I know for some smaller farmers, it can be hard to fill the truck with screenings. But it is definitely, a way to get the most value off your farm, right? If you can sell those screenings as well. So appreciate that. And just to remind us all, it was between $100 and $130 a metric ton delivered to Lorburn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. And we do get that question a lot, why don't you offer a per bushel price? But it's just so hard when you're going across so many different small grains to get an exact bushel weight or how that would spec out. So we go by the metric ton instead. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you so much for being here today, and we'll move on to our next presenter. So thanks you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. All right, now we're moving on to Mumm sprouting seeds, and I would like to welcome Carolyn to the webinar. Thanks for being here, Carolyn, and over to you.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for having us participate today. This is great. We don't kind of missing some of the events in that where we can get out and meet with people. A little bit about Mumm Sprouting Seeds. We are located in a small hamlet in, call it North Central Saskatchewan, just on the edge of the lakes and forests, about an hour and a half north of Saskatoon. Parkside's a very small place, so we actually operate out of a redone curling rink with an additional warehouse and bin space and such. The mums have been growing organically since 7, and then diversified into selling into a sprouting and microgreen market. It makes us a little bit unique to what we're seeing here today. We carry about 100 different types of seed. We try to source mainly in Saskatchewan, and then more broader into Canada, the US, and then overseas if need be. A lot of the things that we purchase and redistribute can't be grown here, so we do bring in some seed from Italy and India, Peru, Israel, places like that. So we are a little bit unique in that, but then we in turn supply basically the world worldwide with our seed in its different package forms, I guess. So to that end, we are supplying food, but also assisting farmers around the world to sustainable and a viable business. So that being said, with COVID, what we have seen is actually almost an explosion of the microgreen growing market. A lot of what we sell goes into growing microgreens for commercial sprouters, and then as well as the sprouting. So what we look for in our seed is I guess a little bit different than what some of the other companies are looking at. We have a quality team that will grow the seed and see how it sprouts, see how it grows as a microgreen. We're looking for different things than what maybe some of the other companies are with the nature of business. So we have during this COVID period, I don't want to say expanded our business, but we are definitely in a growth period. So today, though, being that we are operating on the prairies, I want to talk about some of the things that are prairie grown that we are looking for immediately. We buy 4010 forage peas, hard red spring wheat, buck daikon ranch, some of the mustards. I heard somebody else talk a little bit earlier about yellow and brown mustard being the main mustard crops. They're also looking for an oriental mustard. That is really hard to find. And as part of my presentation, I would also like to say that we are not only looking for our typical prairie products, but there are some things that can be grown here that if a fellow is looking to diversify even on a few acres, oriental mustard is one we'd like to see grown for sure. We're always looking for alfalfa, red clover, chickpeas, faba beans, such as that. But I mean, we also sell, if you check out our website, we also sell like green peas, yellow peas, Oregon giant peas, marrow fat peas, such like that. Getting back to the ones that I just mentioned are ones that we go through a fair quantity of, but we also look for smaller quantities of soft white winter wheat. So if anybody out there is looking to get rid of some of that, with rye, we're also looking for a hull-less barley and a hull-less oat, sunflower in smaller quantities, that sort of thing. I don't know what else I can tell you about. Pricing, we pay a premium to the organic market, mainly because we part of the belief and mission is to assist producers and farmers to stay viable and to continue to be able to work in this industry. Price wise, right now on hard red spring wheat is one that I'm actually actively looking for here in the next couple of months. We pay a cleaned price picked up at the cleaner, and right now I'm at about $22 a bushel. Looking for that's probably the main one right now. So I don't know, any questions?
That's great. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I don't have any questions yet, but I would like to ask, so do you contract most of your acres?
Actually, as of now, we don't contract anything. We talk about that in terms of, we can, if somebody wants to, is interested in growing something specifically for us. The only thing is there's so many variables. A beautiful crop may not produce as a sprouting crop for us. Yeah. There's other things, at play too, like we have to test for pathogens and things like that. Like there'll be the odd time, something else will in, and then we can't buy it. So, yeah. But people, I mean, if we're definitely open to talking about it.
Yeah. No. Okay. Yeah. And for sure, that makes complete sense. So I guess samples are super important. Yeah, I was thinking in particular on Oriental mustard, because I know that is definitely a niche crop, but it's interesting to know that there is a market for it. So that's great to hear. Okay, well, there was one question around organic alfalfa seed. Do you have a price for that at the moment? Or are you looking for that?
We are looking for it. That is pricing that kind of fluctuates a bit. So that would be probably if somebody wants to, my contact information is there, wants to give me a call or drop an email, and we can begin that discussion, because there are alfalfa and that has a little bit different specifications that we need for growing it. So
no. Yeah. All right. No, that's great. That answers the question. So if you have alfalfa seed, get in touch with Carolyn.
Yeah.
And yes, she'll work with you on samples and pricing. So that's really great. And I really appreciate you being here, because I think, we have our larger buyers and our smaller buyers, and it's all part of the same ecosystem, right? So to know,
exactly.
the niche market and what's the possibilities there is really fantastic. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to our next speaker now. We have Jeff from Seaboard Special Crops. So over to you, Jeff.
Thanks, Marla. And thank you, Deb and Marla, for organizing this. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Special hello to Laura, Jamie, and Jackie. Yeah, so Seaboard Special Crops. I am new here. I've been here for about a month, but I'm not new to organics. I've been fortunate to learn from some of the best, and here I am. So Seaboard Special Crops, our office is based in Regina. We've got our organic facility at Avonlea, and as our name implies, we focus on your special crops, primarily pulses, peas, and lentils. On the organic side, of course, the black lentils, French greens. We also do some work with the large greens and reds as well. The lentil market lately has been pretty quiet, but I see that picking up again starting from the new year. Right now, the big thing we're looking for is going to be yellow peas. I've got an indication on yellow peas of 12.25 delivered to Avonlea. If you'd like to give me a call on that. And yeah, with regards to your lentils, if you've got some in the bin you're looking for a home for, if you want to give us a call, and I can make note of that so that I can give you a call back in the new year. Yeah, that's our big things right now. We do also work with a lot of smaller specialty crops too. So if you have any of that, I don't have any prices at the moment, but you can give me a call on that as well. I'm keeping it short and sweet this morning. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thanks so much, Jeff. People are going to be happy to hear about the yellow peas. So that's it. That's really, really good news. It might be short and sweet, but the news is good. So thank you for sharing that. What other kinds of specialty crops are you looking for, or do you purchase, or are you looking to purchase, do you think?
So on the organic side, peas and lentils are big ones. I am working on some stuff, or we are working on some stuff, pardon me, with looking into some mustards. We're just kind of developing a lot of the other smaller specialty stuff at the moment. So
yeah. No, that's totally fine. I didn't want to, my intention wasn't to put you on the spot.
No, that's great.
That's
a perfectly legitimate question. And I mean, I don't have any specifics at the moment, but as things come up, we are working on a lot of these smaller niche markets, and that's outside of the peas and lentils. That's where a lot of our focus is going to lie.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
For sure. Okay, and now on to our next buyer, Organics Canada, and welcome Richard Reimer. Thank you for being here, Richard.
All right, thanks Marla, and thanks Deb and everyone at Sask Organics for having me on here today. Okay, yeah, so my name is Richard Reimer. I'm probably new for most of everybody in the organic sector. I've been spending my last 5 years more directed on the trading side of things with a company I used to work with in Winnipeg here. So a lot of my time was spent working with millers, feedlots, and end users within Canada, the US, and internationally. Fortunately, I did get to enjoy a bit of summer this year, and during the summer, I did pair up with a fellow named Travis Hyde, who owns Organics Canada. So we started as an organic farm operation about 7 years ago. We do about 40,000 acres of organic land now as of this fall here, and the emphasis of what we're trying to do is to create a small trading desk here that we can utilize our mill connections and help farmers on the organic side try and, I guess, open up more doors. Again, we have very low overhead, so it's a good opportunity for us to maybe get a little bit more money in the producer's pocket and move their grain in good fashion here. So, I've been, like I said, in the last 5 years here, we've seen a pretty downward spiral in terms of pricing here, but with COVID, it looks as though, spring, summer was a pretty active few months for demand, with a lot of buyers looking to fill their inventories. They just can keep product on the shelves, which was actually a good sign. It did eat up a lot of what was in for carryover from last year's crop. Now that said, I know Bill's and some other people have touched on this. There was still a bit of carryover, and we did have a good crop this year, which will help, or will keep prices kind of stabilized for where they are right now, especially in the milling wheat market and some of the feed grains. In terms of what we're currently looking for in demand, we're a pretty small operation, and we are just getting going here in the last few months. So our collection of commodities is fairly small in what we're looking for. Today we do have interest and some contracts available for organic CWRS, and that we can work with anything from 11.5 and up in terms of protein. Indication wise, we'd be pricing about a $13.50 FOB farm with a 50-cent haul for freight for a number 213 protein. And for that, we're looking movement right now between now and February. In terms of feed wheat, it's another commodity we have some interest in. Indications there would be between $7.50 and $8 delivered, and our yard is located in Waldron, Saskatchewan. Other commodities, yellow peas, we are looking for a few loads there as well between now and the end of February. Price wise, we're looking around $11.50 FOB for food grade product, subject to samples. And feed wise, we're looking about $9.50 FOB farm with 50-cent hauls on those as well. And then lastly, we are looking for a little bit of feed flax. We're pricing about 18 per bushel FOB farm. That would be subject to a sample as well. But that's kind of where we're sitting today.
All right, thank you so much, Richard. Just on the feed flax, what's your tolerance for dockage?
We have a couple different options here. We have one buyer that's looking at a 10% dockage tolerance. We do have some others, customers that are working with 2 or 3%. So, we've seen stuff so far all over the place in dockage wise, and most likely it'll end up going to a cleaner, but that's kind of what we're looking for.
Right, okay. All right, thank you. That's always a big thing with flax. The little bit I know about flax, dockage is huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In terms of the tolerance of it, so and the cleaning and that sort of thing. So yeah, sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for being here today, and yeah, for Organics Canada, I guess picking up on a previous comment, joining the ecosystem of organic grain buyers in Saskatchewan. So we're happy to be here, and thanks a lot again. Yeah, thank you. Okay, let's move on now to O&T Farms. So welcome, Alen and Ken. Thank you so much for being here today.
Second here, my webcam is coming, I hope.
There we go.
Thanks, Marla, and thanks, Sask Organics, for having us. My name is Elen Ainge, and I'm the CEO at O&T Farms, and we're also known as Elite Processing. I'm just going to briefly tell you a little bit about ourselves before I turn this over to Ken, because we are pretty new to the organic buying business. We've been only doing it for about 3 years. So we're a little bit different than the typical buyers. We're buying ingredients, makeup, premium ingredient for the animal feed market all over the world. We've been in business for 53 years, and I've been here for 28 years. So we've been around a long time, mostly on the conventional side. In the early 2000s, we got a patent on an omega-3 product for hens, and probably the best way to describe what we do is the omega-3 eggs that you buy. We put the omega-3 into the hens' diets, and today we are probably feeding about 38 million hens every day between the US, Canada, and Asia. And the thing that we're looking for is omega-3s, and that's found in the fat of the oil. And for humans, omega-3s help heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, depression, arthritis. And then also for the animal, they help with reproduction, immunity, nutrient utilization, and so on. So there's tons of stuff that the omega-3s in flax do. And we spend a whole pile of money every year on research and development at universities, both in the US and Canada. So we're pretty credible out there in the premium ingredient market for animal feeds. And so we decided to go into organics in 2017, because if omega-3s are healthier, then organic omega-3s must be even more healthy. So COVID, like everyone else, has affected our business positively, with everyone eating at home and buying healthier table eggs than the restaurants do. We've seen a big increase in the demand for our products. We buy organic flax, peas, alfalfa, and a little bit of canola. And I'll turn it over to Ken and let him talk about purchases of it.
Thanks, Lan. Good to see everybody on the webinar today. I recognize a bunch of faces there. I guess that means nobody moves around, or I've just been around too long. But anyways, we've, like Lan says, July 2017, we went into the organic business. We were certified with the International Certification Services, and we just got our renewal completed here about 2-3 weeks ago. Our plant is located just north of Regina on Highway number 6, left-hand side. And somebody was talking earlier that they were learning quite a bit about organics. Well, I have to agree. I'm learning in a quick fashion too. Lots of protocols for shipping, receiving, unloading, etc. So we're learning that as well. We buy organic brown and yellow flax. We buy green and yellow peas, and a very, very small amount of alfalfa and canola. We try to buy as much as our organics from farmers direct, but have gone to brokers as well. Organic flax, I guess what we're buying, we're not really, well, we're buying flax, but we're buying a omega-3, omega-6 for the nutritional benefits. We found we have a FOS tester that we're able to check everything, and we're finding ALA is what it's called, linoleic acid, is all over the wall. It can be 17, it can be 26%. We try to shoot for a 19.5 bare minimum, and so far it's worked out pretty good. We have had to reject a few loads, but that's the way it is. We're finding this year flax, there seems to be a lot of it around, getting all kinds of calls, mostly for brown, and had no problem getting it. Currently, we ask all farmers or brokers, farmers, whoever, to send in samples. We put it through our tester. We'll check for ALA, blockage, moisture, oil levels, all the normal things. And our prices vary on demand and supply. Currently, we've been buying organic flax. Like I say, it doesn't have to be the 56 or 54 pound flax. We currently are paying anywhere from $20 to $24 a bushel. I can tell you, in the past, when we first started, we were as high as $1,600 a ton, which is what, 38, 39 bucks. I heard some traded the other day at $40 delivered. So our job is to buy, if we can get it a little cheaper with feed flax, it's perfect. Organic peas, like I say, we buy green or yellow, doesn't matter. Again, we test it. We test it for moisture. Mold is a bad one. We don't like to see mold in anything. Currently, we can buy sample up to number one. It depends on the demand or supply. We've been paying anywhere from $4.10 a ton to $4.20 a ton of late. We've paid as little as $3.70 last year, and we paid as high as $5.50 over last year. So it looks like the yields have been pretty good this year. It also looks like there's lots of it around. So supply and demand. We do buy a little bit of organic alfalfa. There's some available in Saskatchewan. We've able to get that, and canola very, very, very little. If we buy about 40 ton a year for a customer specific. We have not contracted any organic peas or flax to date. I suspect down the road we will, but at this point in time we have not done it. We're just getting into this, and business is going up all the time. And I guess the biggest, Richard talked about dockage, and yes, dockage is a problem, especially in flax. Most times all our flax comes in, it's been cleaned. It's down to the 2, 3, 4%. Once you get too much dockage in there, that ALA level gets kicked down pretty good. So that's why we ask for a representative sample, and so that we know what's at the pit has been tested, and we know what it is. So we've had to reject the odd load, and that's all. That's what you do for your quality. So that's about all I have. I enjoyed listening to some of the people here with pricings. It's interesting that some pretty high values for about, mind you got to remember those are for human grade. So anyways, that's all I have, and any questions, feel
Perfect.
free.
Thank you so much, Ken and Alan. I have one question, which is, what is the price for alfalfa, and what quantities do you buy? So maybe minimum quantities, or
one of our rations calls for 3% in the ration, so it's not a huge amount. We've paid, I believe the last stuff was $475 a metric ton delivered, and that was in a Super B load.
Okay, and then I just had a question. So all of your purchases are done, I guess most are subject to sample approval. So are you actively looking for people to send in samples for any of the crops?
Absolutely. We are looking for that. I've been contacted, and usually what I do is I give an address, and it can be mailed in, and we're pretty good at getting it tested. If we receive it on a Friday, Monday, we often have the results. It doesn't take long, just got to get out to the mills and check. But yeah, samples, yep, absolutely. We need to see them prior. We want no surprises, I guess, at the end of the day. I've been in the feed business too long to know that sometimes things change.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it feels a little similar to Mumm sprouting seeds in that you're looking for very specific qualities, right, in the grain that you're looking for to meet the various specs. So yeah, well, so I would encourage folks.
Here's a good example. Flax can be what's a standard bushel weighs, what, 56? I don't know how much flax goes at that these days, but it's probably closer to 54. But we can buy 43-pound flax, and the ALA can be 21.3, and that's perfect. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So we can take the grade. We can take some grades that are not for human consumption.
Yeah, and again, talking about the ecosystem, super important, right? To have, to have that food and feed is market is really great. So thank you so much for both being here this morning. We really appreciate you taking the time. And with that, we'll move on to our next presenter. So thank you again. All right, so I'm going to hand over now to Alex Galarno from PHS Organics. Welcome, Alex. Sorry, I think welcome, Alex.
Hi, sorry, I'm having a little trouble here with my connection.
That's okay.
So
that's all right. We can hear you.
Okay.
That's the most important thing. Perfect. Thank
I'm
you.
going to share. Just lost it again. So, hey guys, thank you for inviting us to the webinar, and hello to all our participants out there. I'm Alex Galarno, owner under Prepared to Seed. Just so us in a company. Seed processing.
Alex, sorry, Alex, I'm just going to interrupt you a second. Maybe stop showing your video because the sound quality is a little choppy, and sometimes if you turn off the video, the sound quality improves.
How's that?
That's great. Perfect. Thank you.
Oh.
No?
Okay.
That's
process.
Yeah. Sorry, Alex, we can't actually hear you now. So oh right, it looks like Alex's internet connection may have dropped. That's the joys of rural internet, and hopefully there's some funding coming to rural Saskatchewan to improve that situation, improve the internet access. Okay, so maybe we'll just, I have one more company that wanted to be here today, but unfortunately was unable to be here, and that's Mountain High Organics. So we'd just like to take a moment to thank them for their gold sponsorship, and we're sorry that they weren't able to join us, but we would encourage you to check out their website and to give them a call to see what crops or what crops they're buying this year. All right, well, I think we're going to bring the webinar to a close. If in my short closing remarks here, Alex is able to get back online, we will definitely hand over to Alex so that we can hear what PHS has to offer. And because of the technical issue we're having, we'll make sure that we include, I think he might have even had a presentation, include his presentation and pricing in the email that goes out to you all later today or early tomorrow morning. So I'll just wrap up by saying thank you again so much to our sponsors. We can't do it without you: Grain Millers, Sunrise, PHS Organics, Mountain High Organics, Manitoba Harvest, FW Cobs, ONT Farms, Mumm Sprouting Seeds, Seaboard Special Crops, and Organics Canada.
Hello,
and
Marla.
Hi. Yeah, are you back?
I am back. If you got a minute.
We absolutely have a minute. So
okay.
Over to you. Yeah.
Okay. I was going on. I didn't realize where we left off. Can you help me out a bit?
Just start from the beginning, because it was a little bit choppy, and then we noticed that you were offline. So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for participating. I'm Alex Galarno, owner and one of the founders of Prairie Heritage Seeds. Our family has been in organic since 1981. We constructed a seed processing plant in 1989 and have been exporting grain into Europe, North America, and Asia ever since. We are proud sponsors of Sask Organics, Canadian Organic Trade Association, and Organic Connections. We also are very proud of our partnership with Ag Canada and all the organic research they're doing, and we provide funding for them. We are farmers, processors. Our program is developed by farmers for farmers. We do things a little different here. Any way we can increase value to the farmer, we flow that money right back. We're quite proud of it. We have a retroactive program. If we can find some value in the program, even though you're contracted, we will pay you retroactive to increase your price. We're probably the only ones that have in our forward contract that we reserve the right to raise that price at any time. And in the past, we have enacted that clause. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, we were able to raise the price of our grain up to $4 to $5 a bushel at retroactive payment. I feel our philosophy here is the organic industry is based on organic growers. Without the organic growers being profitable, it's very difficult to have an industry. So that's our main focus. Overview of the year, we do all the forward contracting for the community in Western Canada. We see great movement on that. COVID protocols is much the same as everybody else commented on. Our sales did increase and have sustained. Our food manufacturers are saying that they foresee that will continue. They're also looking at adding new product and new product lines to their program. Grain quality, again, I don't want to reiterate what everybody else said, but much the same. Quality is very, very good quality. One thing we have to make note of, we are shipping only to food manufacturers. So our protocol on testing is increasing all the time in the worldwide market. Over the past 30 years, I've seen testing increase substantially. We're now testing every load for pesticide residue, mold, microtoxins, and DON, and also the grain quality. Probably the most stringent testing is done here. We have an in-house lab with 3 to 4 employees working all the time, making sure that the quality of the grain coming in and going out is the highest possible, because we are dealing with food manufacturers and food. Looking forward, I don't think the testing is going to go away. If anything, it's going to increase. That's a fact that we're going to have to realize. Our PHS's access to markets is also increasing. We're getting some strong indications on new products. We will be announcing later on new products, new commodities that we're looking for from food manufacturers. Our customers are saying the demand is not waning. If not, it's going the other way. So we're very happy about that. We would like to thank all the growers who've already signed up for the 2021 crop. We're expecting increase in our contract acres. And if anybody interested going forward, we will have some room available. Stay healthy, guys, and stay safe. We're going to get through this pandemic. I know we are. And thank goodness we are in this industry where we are appreciated and how do you say it? I think we're a very important part going forward. Thanks, Marla.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. Are you able to share your 2021 contract price?
Not at the moment. Typically,
Right, okay.
We're going to our food manufacturers for an indication from them. We will probably be announcing that probably mid-February.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a little early. Yeah. Okay. No, that's perfect. And also, just for folks who might be on the webinar who aren't familiar with Kamut, there's a very specific growing region in the province. And can you remind us of that?
Yeah, so anywhere where we can grow good high quality durum, which is typically south of the #1 highway in the light brown and brown soil zones, we buy grain from Montana, North Dakota, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. But primarily where we can grow #1 durum consistently, that's where we want our acres to be.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Thanks for clarifying that. All right, well, again, I'll just say thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to everybody who's presented today. And I did actually have one general question to all of the buyers. There's a producer interested if anybody is buying organic soybeans or organic corn, and a price indication. And it's a little tricky because everybody's probably muted and their cameras are off. So maybe if you can send that information, if you have it, to Deb or myself, we can include it in the email that goes out to attendees for today. That might be the most straightforward way of dealing with it, unless somebody wants to hop on now.
Hey, Marla, Ben Horgan.
Hi, Ben.
Yeah, we can definitely put some stuff together. We don't tend to do a lot of volume out of Canada with corn and beans, but certainly, if we were to get some people, I would say call just so we could do, either truckload or rail on the pricing. We're certainly open to it. Just don't see a lot of it, especially in Saskatchewan. So, yeah, happy to help any way that we can.
Okay, no, that's really good to know. It's most often out of Manitoba, we're seeing some soybeans and corn, I think. But who knows? It might be an increasing market, or there might be some acres grown here in Saskatchewan as well. So that's excellent to know. Hi.
Sorry, Bill Longman here at Sunrise. We would look at soybeans as well. So if anybody wanted to contact us, we'd have the conversation for sure.
Okay, excellent. So that's FW, Cobs, and Sunrise. So if you have some to sell, give them a call. All right, again, thank you to our sponsors, and just a little plug for past webinars. We do have them available for purchase. They're up on our website, so you can check that out if you're interested in the information that we've provided there. And our latest and greatest, we've just launched what we're calling our abundance box. And what we're trying to do with the box is to sort of promote and spread the word about the food companies that we have, organic food companies that we have right here in Saskatchewan, and a few other surprises in the box. So it's a great, as we're saying, just in time for holiday giving. So check out our website if you're interested in purchasing an abundance box. And also, obviously, it's another way to help us fundraise at Sask Organic. Last but not least, thank you to all of you for attending this webinar and the webinars that we have done since April. We really appreciate you sort of embracing the webinar in this COVID-19 world where we are unable to meet in person. And last but not least, there will be a short survey when you close out of the webinar, and we would really be grateful if you took a few minutes to let us know what you liked and what you didn't about today's webinar, so we can plan for the future. So thank you all so much again, and we will see you next time. Have a great day.